On Thursday, Citilink officials will hold their second public input session on proposed cuts and changes to routes. They say some services are on the chopping block due to a lack of state and federal funding.
While some stops may go away, one viewer asked 21 Investigates On Your Side reporter John Wagner to find out what can be done to improve the stops we have.
Hey guys, when Susan Ward called 21 Investigates to find out why there wasn't a proper bus stop here at the Waynedale Kroger, I assumed maybe she was trying to make her own life a little bit easier. But Susan doesn't ride the bus. In fact, her tip wasn't about her at all.
So I've seen it on TV, Investigate 21. I know you guys done a lot of good stories. And I thought, well, maybe getting you guys, to bring this to light, maybe somebody will see this story and think, oh, well, yeah, maybe let's do that.
Susan Ward doesn't live far from the Waynedale Kroger on Bluffton Road, and while she says she's been blessed with a car and has never had to rely on Citilink to get around, she's spent years watching those that do wait for the bus in the extremes of all four seasons.
I would see them all the time. People with walkers, elderly, they're trying to manage groceries and their walker. I feel bad for them.
Susan told me she tried reaching out to Citilink and Kroger to see what could be done about putting up at least a bare-bones structure with a roof.
Can you imagine being here with your groceries and sitting and waiting?
To try and put myself in the rider's shoes, I waited the 45 minutes to an hour it took for the next bus to arrive. It was a pleasant day weather-wise, I didn't have heavy bags of frozen food, and I'm relatively healthy. But I still have to say, it wasn't long until I thought a bench would have been pretty nice. My next stop was to Citilink headquarters on Leesburg Road. That's where I found out the Waynedale Kroger stop isn't the only one without a shelter. Far from it.
Citilink owns about 70 shelters, but we have 1,000 bus stops.
Citilink CEO John Metzinger isn't exaggerating. He's actually rounding down from the 1,040 stops dotting the map around Fort Wayne. And you might have guessed, but erecting a shelter at each of those stops would be cost prohibitive even if Citilink weren't facing a multi-million-dollar operating deficit. That's why Metzinger says Citilink chooses which stop gets a shelter carefully.
We locate shelters based entirely on ridership demand. So out of the 1,000 stops, we know with our data systems how many people board on average there per day.
I went out on a limb and guessed that the Bluffton Road stop might be one of those higher traffic stops.
Yeah, you're right. Grocery stores, healthcare facilities, employment centers, schools, those are primary locations where people are boarding most often.
As it turns out, there almost was a shelter here.
Waynedale is an interesting case. We worked closely with the city of Fort Wayne on a grant application last year that included new improved infrastructure at Kroger. Unfortunately, the city did not win that grant.
If you're anything like our viewer Susan, you might be asking yourself why a grant is needed to install a simple shelter.
It doesn't cost that much money to make a wooden bench, and it doesn't take $50,000.
Susan is almost right.
So a bus stop will range, right? A very simple one could cost as little as $10,000. If we want to invest in a universal design like at Turnstone Center or the League, it's almost $50,000.
$50,000, that's crazy.
Visiting the shelter at Turnstone, you might not immediately see where the $50,000 went until you notice the even pavement, the solar lighting, benches and railings with different heights to accommodate different abilities, all of which is great for those that visit Turnstone, but the fact remains that folks at Bluffton Road still don't have the basics. And because of financial constraints, Citilink has had to cut the $100,000 typically set aside each year to build shelters down to around $30,000 in their budget forecasts. Susan did have one more idea, though. How about asking Uncle Kroger to pitch in?
Well, yeah, that's where they're spending their money. Yeah, so if, it's going to help them because that's where their money's going, right there.
Susan does have a point here. Kroger did post around $150 billion in revenue for 2023 and again in 2024. But while the company may have bus stop money, it has no responsibility to be in the bus stop business. Even still, 21 Investigates did reach out to Kroger Corporate to find out if they're feeling generous. We're still waiting to hear back. In the meantime, Susan Ward and John Metzinger are still looking for ways to make life a little easier for others, something that makes the world and the wheels on the bus go round. For 21 Investigates, I'm John Wagner reporting.